Well, here we are once again with another interesting guest from Polk County, North Carolina. And as I keep saying, the dot on the map, but it's a crossroads of the world. And I think this gentleman I'm going to introduce you to will agree to that because I think he spent most of his life here. Mr. Ron Mosseller. Good morning.
Hi. Okay. Yeah. Well, you speaking of that, I was making a phone call in New York, and and the operator, whoever I was talking to, said, "Where is Tryon?" She says, "It's really in the boonies, isn't it?" I said, "Oh no." I said, "We're in the center of three big cities." She said, "What are they?" I said, "New York, Chicago, and Atlanta."
Well, as I said, it's a crossroads, and at one time I have found out since moving here from Ohio, I'm one of those useless Buckeyes, and since moving here from Ohio, I found out that Saluda, which is in our county, was at one time called the Switzerland of America.
Good. I have never heard that.
Well, I'm going to teach you some things, Mr. Ross Muscle. I've lived here 4 years, and I'm talking to natives and telling them things. Well, I didn't know that. You don't sometimes know what's on in your backyard.
Yes, I'll say, and I lived in Saluda for 7 years, but didn't know that.
Yeah. But you're a native Polk Countyan?
No, I was born in Asheville. And we moved to New York when I was 7. My mother and father separated when I was 5. And the mother wanted to get to the art world. So that's why we moved to New York. My sister was a portrait painter, wanted to be a portrait painter. And I wanted to go to art. And I drew all the time. I was an artist from the time I was 4 years old. Both of us were. So we moved to New York. And I went to New York public schools and got drafted, went to art school up there and all that and stuff.
Yeah. So, but you are still a Carolinian by birth, I guess.
Yes, right, Carolinian. And my family was from Tryon on my mother's side.
When did you come to Tryon?
How did I come to Tryon?
When?
Oh, 1959.
Okay.
1959, yes, 60 years, whatever.
And I always ask people who, haven't been born and bred here, I always say, well, what brought you to Tryon?
Okay, well, I was in the service in Hawaii, and I got a telegram from my brother and my mother said, "Don't come home to New York. We're in Saluda, North Carolina." I never heard of the place, of course. And so, anyway, I got my discharge in Seattle. I ran to the airlines. I said, "Can you find me an airport near Saluda?" I said, "I got a map at North Carolina." She said, "Well, Saluda's not on the map." She said, "Anywhere near Charleston?" I said, "Yes, it must be." And so I took a plane from Seattle to Chicago, Atlanta, and Charleston.
Okay.
And I was a New York smart aleck, 20 years old. And I didn't know, so I ran out to the cab stand, and I said I want to go to Saluda. And he said, "Oh, South Carolina." I said, No. I said, "North Carolina." He said, "Well, that's 265 miles. I said, "Yeah." I said, "How much?" "How much?" He said, "Why, $40. That was a week's salary of 1947. Oh. Anyway, so I took a taxi from Charleston up to here, and they said, "Well, go to Sunnydale Restaurant in Tryon because it's easy to find. We'll be having dinner there." So I took a taxi 5.5 hours from Charleston to Tryon, and that's how I discovered the South.
And imagine $40 you spend $40 in New York now to go from one block to another.
That's right, that's right. But the average salary, when I went to art school, the average salary in 1950 and 51, the salaries were $55, $50, like that for artists going into advertising agencies and stuff.
Well, I was as late as starting to work in 1939 when I got my first job in radio, and I was paid a starting salary of $10 a week, and I was advanced to $12.50 a week.
Oh, well, that's big money.
I was saving money like crazy. But so you came to Saluda then, but why did your family pick Saluda?
They rode the Chamber of Commerce in Asheville. They said they're rug makers in Hendersonville and Saluda, a lot of them. They're skilled rug makers, so that's why they went to Saluda.
So they were in New York, were they rug makers?
Oh, no, they didn't have any rug makers in New York. When my mother had her studio workshop up in New York, but she imported her workers from North Carolina. She couldn't trade the New Yorkers to make those rugs the way they did down here.
Well, things have changed a lot in many ways, and I thought this rug making is kind of an American lost art, is it? Are there many rugs manufactured here in this country now?
Oh, not many because they're cheaper in China, but there were quite a few custom-made rug companies that, like us, that made rugs here in America.
You were custom people then?
Custom-made rugs, yeah.
So you set up shop then in Saluda or here?
Yeah, we had 2 buildings in Saluda, okay. Workshop and the office and all that stuff. And then when we moved to Tryon, I had my building downtown in the old post office building across from the Nations Bank, Bank America.
Okay, so but you moved from Saluda to Tryon, yes. your business.
I was 7 years in Saluda. 7 years in Saluda.
Okay, this may be a queer question to ask you, but they say there aren't stupid questions, just stupid answers. Is that right? But why would you have moved down here?
Well, that's easy to answer. That's not a stupid question. Good. That's a brilliant question. I would come down. I had cousins here, and our driveway in Saluda was covered with ice for 3 weeks without melting. 3 weeks. I'd come down in January, and they were playing tennis, and I looked up at the mountains, and there it was white all the way across the mountains for 500 feet, and all down below it was all green for 500 feet. So it was just a perfect line of ice. And then it got to that thermal belt, and that was all green. And I said, I'm going to leave here someday. If it takes me forever, I'm going to move.
But what year was that?
Oh, that was 1959, 58, end of 58.
Were the roads, I know the roads to Saluda kind of snaky and curl up around, but were the roads then as nice as they are now?
No, the 176 was that was the main highway.
Yeah. It still is, isn't it? The main.
No. That is what I-26 is the main highway now.
To Saluda?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't even. Of course, I get lost in a phone booth. I mean, I have no idea where routes go, but I was thinking 176 was probably the only route there, and 26 goes the other way.
Oh no! You can go either way.
Okay, good deal.
176. I go nowadays. I don't like to travel on I-26 anymore. I'm too old for that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, the traffic's good, but it's good that we have those highways because people that want to get off those and come off to eat or come off to spend the night, we're right there off the main highways without all that traffic.
Yes, that's true. And of course, before they were building I-26, people got killed a lot on 176. The big trucks coming down and hitting cars and all that. It got terribly bad.
Well, there's so many, I'd like to talk to you about your days when you lived here when there was a train travel. But I think for this first, we'll do this again, okay? But for the first time, I wanted to talk about your rugs because there's one story that intrigued me and you told it to me, but I'm going to let you tell the story about the rug that your mother made that ended up in an important place.
Oh, well, okay. Well, let me think. Well, she went to these all kind of lectures in New York, positive thinking, Norman Vincent Peale kind of stuff. This is Mrs. Shin, and the speaker said, "What was your desire, your biggest hope in your life?" She said, "Oh, I'd love to have one of my rugs in the Metropolitan Museum of Art." And
think big, huh?
Yeah, she said that. Well, she said, just picture your rug there. You see that rug there every morning. You see your rug there. And she said, well, I've made this rug, but it's very modern. It's way out, abstract, carved and all that, white on white, so on and so forth. She said, well, did you see that rug there? She said, well, they have antique rugs in Metropolitan, not modern stuff like this. Well, anyway, so finally she got up the courage and she went over to the Metropolitan. She said she wanted to see the curator of the rug department, And so she got in to see him and she told him about her rug. And he said, how did you find out? She said, find out what? He said, we're planning an exhibition of contemporary art and rugs, international rugs from around the world or something like that, and we'll be having it. And she showed him the photograph of it, and he studied it, and he said, we want to see the rug itself. So they saw the rug itself, and they said, that's it. It goes in the middle of the room on a platform, and it was called the coffee and cream rug because the reporter from the Times asked her where'd she get the design. She said, I got the design from heavy cream swirling around in my coffee. He said, that's the coffee and cream rug. So that's how it was.
Well, so her rug is still there?
No.
No,
That was
no.
just for an
For a
exhibition.
temp exhibition.
That was for a month and a half or whatever.
Okay, good. But that is now I hadn't heard that story, but the other one that I heard was when we were talking about the rug was underneath the chair of that
okay.
one.
Oh, that's a FDR. Well, that was anonymously donated to Roosevelt, and she wove it in Regency design, but she put in WPA, NRA, and all these things that Roosevelt started, wove those in the rug, and of course he loved it for that.
And that was underneath his chair when he died. I
don't know how to read it. You look in the photograph, and the chair is right on the corner of the rug,
Yeah.
Yeah, so the chair was on the rug. It was 9 by 12 or something like that, Yeah. And the living room was small.
Well, did you have many people working with you? I mean, how did the fact that she was the creator of a lot of the designs, and your father was involved? No, they were divorced. I think you said.
Just my mother.
Yeah.
And she had about 4 and 5 workers most of the time up there. We had about 7 and 8 workers down here when we make the big rugs.
Okay. And you got involved then in the rug making.
I'm sorry to say I did.
You're happy you did it.
I was too chicken to. Well, I took flying lessons, number one, and then on the GI Bill, but then someone said, well, there are 20,000 pilots looking for a job post-war and can't find them. So I said I better go to art school. So I went to Art Students League in New York.
Okay.
But
did you learn something from them that you didn't learn from your mother about art?
Oh, the Art Students League?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Lord, yes.
Now, was she self-taught? I mean, or did she actually
she
study?
Went to art school in Seattle when she was young.
Okay.
Yeah, but no, I didn't learn a lot from Mother in how to draw and paint and things like that. Well, I mean, to a degree, with designs, rug designs I did, I guess. Yeah. But I took illustration and all that, advertising art.
So then when you came back to the family business, did you do the designing for them, or did you actually do hands-on weaving of rugs?
No hands-on stuff. Neither one of us did that. We had let the workers do that. And so, I drew the pictures sometimes directly on the canvas. And if it was a hunt scene or something like that, and I draw.
Was most of your work done on consignment for special things like you said, if you had a dog, you could put the dog on a rug for them?
Yes. 90% of all of our rugs were custom made, so we had to have an order for it first before we did it.
Okay. What's the largest rug you ever had to make?
Oh, Lord God. The hardest one, it was a $15,000 order I had in 1999, New York Decorator, and it was the scenes of Saratoga, 1840 Saratoga races, horse races, stuff, all that stuff, a historical thing. And then my brother said, that's too complicated. I said, there are 200 windows I got to do in the hotel. And it took me forever to do that. I had to do it, not my workers. I couldn't let them do it. But anyway, I found it. We got it made and shipped it off. And anyway, we got to $15,000, and I spent about $5,000 more on it.
Well, you have to keep spending money to make money.
Yeah, but I didn't do it the right way.
Oh, well, that'll be another time. Anyway, what's the farthest distance that you ever? We'll just let the phone ring. They can call back. Okay, we hear a phone ringing.
Oh.
Okay. No. Let's finish this.
Right. Okay.
Okay. We'll be through here in just a couple minutes. But where is the farthest distant that you ever had to ship a rug?
Oh, I'll have to think about that. Let me see. Oh gosh. I don't know. I think probably Texas. We didn't ship rugs overseas. I had a lady from Paris that wanted a rug, and we sent her the color rendering of the designs we proposed to her in Paris, and the customs held it up for 2 months. They didn't know how to charge for it, and then they finally they understood what it was, and so the custom, anyway, the duty was 20%. It was $6,000 rug, and they wanted $2,000 in custom, something like that, So that was the end of that.
Good grief! What was the most expensive rug you ever made?
Oh, the most expensive. My God, I got to think.
Well, we'll give you the time to think, but it's a long time ago, probably, because you've been out of business for a little while now, haven't you? Yeah.
Well, probably. My rug kept getting more expensive with the picture rugs in the late 1990s. And so that $15,000 rug was picture rugs. That was, of course, after that, I charged like $250 a square foot for rugs in 2010 and that kind of stuff.
What's the last rug you made?
The last rug was made. I made it myself. See, I don't want to have to hire any employees. So the last 3 or 4 rugs I made all by myself. But they're all 2 by 3 small ones.
Oh.
And of course, they were the most expensive per square foot.
Where did you get your wool? These were all wool rugs, right?
Yeah, pure wool and Persian wool. And Australia and New Zealand, all rugs wool comes from there, just about.
Is that supposed to be, as I understand it, they still have probably top quality wool from those areas?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah. There were a lot of factories that grew out of rug making here in the Carolinas, were there not?
Yes, there was Mountain Rug Mills in Hendersonville and things like that. And they're all gone now, pretty much. Mountain Rug Mills is still in business in Hendersonville.
Okay. Well, there are a lot of things that used to be in this country that aren't. North Carolina used to be when you saw a piece of furniture with like hickory, North Carolina.
Right, absolutely.
And so that was top quality. But hopefully those things will come back here.
I hope so, yes. That's pitiful because all those companies moved to China and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah. And they treat their employees so badly. You know, the recent incident where there were so many burned alive because they couldn't get out of the doors were locked and several thousand.
That was the shirtwaist company in New York, the women's shirtwaist. That was back in 1907, I think. And
there was one just the past year when that happened.
Yes, what?
There was one a disaster just within the past year over there. I don't remember exactly where it was, but so they're just so, well, anyway, we won't go into that. We're here to talk about rugs. I saw one recently in the store, Nature's Storehouse. John Cash has a rug that you helped him make. It's probably one of the last ones you did.
Yeah, well, he's a student of mine.
Oh.
And
are you still teaching this?
As little as possible.
In other words, you're just becoming a lazy old man. You've been active, and you were active in the theater here, I understand.
Yes.
At one time.
I love the theater, of course. Yeah. And so I had to give a talk over at the Polk County Museum because we donated a rug to the museum. Well, actually, John Cash paid for the rug, bought the rug, and donated the rug in memory of his son, Justin. His late son, Justin. And so I made it for the museum. And then I had to give a talk, you see, about it over there when we presented it to them, all that stuff. But I had a great time. I had a lot of laughs.
Well, the last time I had a great laugh, the last time I saw you, as a matter of fact, at the Lanier Library, and you were dressed in a bed sheet.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I'm not going to do that anymore.
Oh, keep on having fun. I'm having fun. I thought late in life I have to establish something, but I've met so many interesting people here, including yourself, and I thought we just got to get this on tape. We've got to let people know, what's going on here, and we don't want it to grow into a large metropolitan area, but we still want to induce people to, if you've got a small business you want to start, we have facilities ready for you here, and we'd love to have you come in and start some businesses because we're a small town, but we are the most busy town. I compare it, having spent 17 years in Cincinnati, this is a small Cincinnati, only you don't have to fight traffic or a place to park.
Right. And it's a wonderful, enthusiastic community. The wealthy, the Forbes Children's School over there, Yes. that was the Duke Power Company building, and it was for sale, and $250,000, designed by Holland Brady, our leading architect.
He designed our house.
Oh my God, wonderful! And so anyway, someone just simply came up and wrote a check for it. The Forbes people just wrote a check for it, but that's just part of it. We were trying to build a fine arts center back in 1968 and raise funds to build it. And we got a man, Jim Black, and he lived out in the hunting country. And I said, we'll make him chairman. I was president, and we make him chairman. So we made him chairman, and he gone back with an enormous amount of money. I said, "What did you do?" He said, "Well, I went to down to the cotton patch to the coons," and I said, "Well, your neighbor next door gave me a check for $10,000." He said, "Well, if they did, put me down for $15,000." He said, "But Jim Black tried that all over the hunting country with everybody, you see, and he got a higher donation from everyone he saw."
He was a is he still alive?
No.
No, okay. Well, anyway, I'm trying to find all these interesting people who have retired here. They don't retire. They slow down, but they keep active, and they contribute not only their talents, but their money. And the Art Center is expanding. I can't believe that amphitheater they're putting in. Yeah. We have music, we have arts, and as Mayor Peebles told me in an earlier interview, he said, what town under 2,000 population has 4 bookstores?
Oh, good heavens. Yeah, I didn't know we had that.
And I asked Miss from the Tryon Riding and Hunt Club, Weicker, I think her name is, if they ever counted the horses.
Oh, yeah.
And the horses outnumber the people. It's beautiful horse country. But anyway, well, we'll have to do this again because there's so many things that you have from your memory of earlier life here when the train still stopped here. And Mr. Gillette is the one that I guess got off the train one day and came back and stayed here.
William Gillette.
Yeah, the first Sherlock Holmes.
Actually, he played Sherlock Holmes back in the 1890s, 1900s, and he made millions of dollars doing it because he had 12 different Sherlock Holmes companies going on at once all over the United States.
Oh, that's a story we'll have to get. Okay, I'm going to have to wind down now before we run out of time here, and I know you have things that you want to do, but would you let me come back and do this again?
Oh, sure.
Anytime. Good. Well, I'm glad you didn't greet me at the door with a sheet on today, because that's the last...
Explain. You have to understand that. That was supposed to be a Greek toga. I posed in a Greek toga in the play, you see. You can't take it with you. And on a model stand.
Oh, he just wants you to understand that he doesn't go around dressed just in a sheet, that it was for a purpose. And I can remember in high school, the Latin Club, we always dressed in sheets, togas and stolas. And we had our meetings in those outfits, and we would lie on the floor and eat off the low tables. So but anyway, lots of good memories, and we'll recall some more of those good memories of this place called Tryon, here in the heart of some of the most beautiful country in the world. And we hope you'll join us for these little talks that we have with our people and find out why they moved here, what made them come here, and what goes on here. And it might induce you to come, and if you don't want to stay for any length of time, but come and pay us a visit, and we'll show you what a great place this is, a little utopia, right?
Yeah, right.
Thank you so much, Ron Mosseller, and thank you for being with us. And remember, Tryon, it's a dot on the map, but it's a crossroads of the world, and we hope that all of you go out and have a great day and keep smiling. Thank you.